So, celebrated Nigerian writer Chimamanda Adichie has been speaking about her admiration for the candidacy of Mr. Peter Obi. One of the things she says she admires about the former presidential candidate is that he is not desperate to serve as president, unlike some people.
I'm not sure who you're going to be supporting during the elections in 2027.
Well, we don't know who's running yet, do we?
Because I know that you had this, I don't know if it's a relationship or you had supported Peter Obi.
Yes.
And now he's in the coalition. People say that Atiku perhaps would be president. Would you like to see him become vice president? Does he still have your support?
Let's go back to dream count. But I think what I will say about your question, and I don't, part of the reason I don't like to speak speculatively about things I'm not sure of, so we don't know who's a candidate. But I will say that my support for Peter Obi, right, is something that I do not hesitate to proclaim or talk about, because I can tell you what it is rooted in. It's rooted, my support for Peter Obi is rooted in my love for this country. It's rooted in my belief that with the right leader, we can be better than we are. We can create a country where people feel included, a country that is not corrupt and does not tolerate corruption. Again, if you have the leader who's setting the tone, it makes all the difference. And I think that he's also a person who, he doesn't need to be president. He wants to be because he cares about Nigeria, but he doesn't need to be, and that is a very important distinction. There are people who are desperate to become president, not because they have any good intentions for the country, but because of their own personal egos. And I think that distinction is so important, because you choose the right leader and you realize it's not about him. For Peter Obi, it's never been about him. Even as a person, his personality, I think, is very telling. He's one of the simplest men I have ever known, and I've known him for many years. And he is genuine and consistent. The person I knew 15 years ago is still the same person in terms of his values. And he's very curious. He wants to learn. And I think that's such a good quality to have in a leader. And also, I mean, there's a wonderful humility. We lack that in this country. There's a sense, I think, in Peter Obi that he's accountable to the people. He doesn't think that somehow he will lord it over people. Peter Obi is not a person who expects you to thank him for doing his job as a leader, because to him, it's his job. And so these are the reasons that I support him, and that I will continue to support him in whatever way I can. But I don't want to talk in specifics about how will I feel if he's not the presidential candidate. I don't want to think about that yet, because we don't know. We don't know what will happen.
But not so for the
any politician that comes to you and
of Arise TV's Dr. Reuben Abati, who thinks many of Mr. Peter Obi's public appearances smacks of someone who is desperately desperate to be president. Watch.
Any politician that comes to you and says, I'm going to do only one term, that's a sign of desperation. It will not work. Just like all these gambits about serving food, carrying plates, and doing boy at parties that could be better organized by event organizers, it's also a sign of desperation. It doesn't work. It will never work. And then the second challenge, of course, is that you say the North will buy into this idea of one term. No, the North will not. Because the civil war in this country has never ended. I don't believe that Northerners who are already aggrieved with a Yoruba president will just shift and embrace the possibility of an Igbo president. There are contradictions in this country that have not been sorted out. We should lay the emphasis on competence, ability. If the Nigerian people are politically educated to a point where they can vote for a competent person, regardless of where he comes from, regardless of his religion, that's when this country will begin to move forward. So all this, I will do one time, I will serve you food, I will give you agbado. No, please. That's not going to work, in my own opinion. I don't know whether you disagree.
Well, I mean, competence, integrity, and all of that, very important for the next president of Nigeria, whether it's President Bola Tinubu as he wants to continue, or is for someone else that will be voted, or whether an Atiku Abubakar or a Rotimi Amici and all of that. Yes, you've said it. Nigeria has not really recovered from the civil war and the politics of that period and all of that. But should we continue? That's what people are saying, and that's why it's time for statesmen to actually rise up. And why is a component part of the federation still being neglected? That's also on the conversation. When we started this country, independence-wise in 1960, it was started on a tripod. Democratically, the other two components of the tripod have ruled the country. So the debate will continue. Why is the third leg of the tripod being left behind? Eventually, we had a fourth tripod, which was the region that was carved out, the Midwest region that was carved out from the then old Eastern region. And the debate has been ongoing. Why not have someone from there? Well, we eventually had someone from the South, which happened to be former President Goodluck Jonathan. But then, how long can we continue to isolate one of the tripod that we started this country with in 1960? That is what statesmen, people who are thinking into the future, are saying. And that's why, if you look at politics, the geopolitics of Nigeria at the moment, the best chance that the Southeast has right now seems to be coming with someone like a Peter Obi. And then you see that if Peter Obi doesn't get it this time around, I wonder when next it could be, because he just looks like a semblance. Why not pitching for him? Look at President Bola Tinubu too. You have said it very clearly. Nobody gives you the presidency on a platter. And so Peter Obi has to do more than just offering this proposition. You will see how Tinubu supported several people. Supported Atiku Abubakar, supported Nuhu Ribadu, and eventually supported Buhari before getting it. How many people has Peter Obi supported to get to the presidency than before coming? The only time he got the opportunity was in 2019 with Atiku Abubakar, but in 2022, 2023, he broke out. When people are saying that he should have supported Atiku Abubakar and it would have been an easiest ascendancy. Well, there are others who are now saying that the best way the Southeast can get to the presidency, from another thinking, is for Peter Obi to be Atiku Abubakar's vice presidential candidate, and by 2031, Atiku Abubakar will now hand over to him. That's the surest way. And I think Peter Obi and others who should consider this. Well, because no one gives you the Nigerian presidency on the platter of gold. But Nigerians need to consider the Eastern region. That's the only pitch that I find very considerate. And of course, the issues of competence can come in there.
Okay, I get that principled position. After all, Payo Adebanjo pushed that position. But President Tinubu is saying he's the one representing the South now. If Buhari did 8 years, the South is also entitled to 8 years. And that's where the argument is. And that's why Gbajabiamila is talking to his colleagues, and they are saying that the Southwest will hold this position for another 4 years. So there are many sides to this conversation.
Now, I know it's not plausible for the Muslim North to support a candidate like Peter Obi as it currently stands. But Dr. Abati, isn't it politics where, as I presume you will know better than I do, categorical statements are not allowed?